Welcome to learning how to knit in less than 10 minutes. Today what I'm going to be showing you is how to actually make holes. Now there are two reasons why you would need to make a hole in your project. One is either for buttons, so if you have a sweater or even if you have a hat and you want to add a button or a scarf anywhere, you could add a button and you want to kind of like attach it, so you would need a hole. Another place to have holes is if you're making any sort of design and you want to add just a line of holes or something, then it looks good and then you could just continue on with your design. So for design purposes or for buttons, you could require holes. So today I'm going to show you how to actually make holes. So I've just done a little bit of knitting here. So what I'm going to do is after every 2 stitches, I'm going to create a hole. So I'm going to knit 2. So this is just for purposes of showing. So you could, like, even if you want 1 or 2 holes, so knit a few and then, or purl a few and then put a hole in there. So that's no problem. So I've knitted a few. So then what I do is take my yarn and bring it to the front, sorry. Take my yarn and bring it to the front of my working needle. Then I take my next stitch and just slip it on to my working needle. So I take my stitch from my holding needle and slip it on to my working needle. Then I just knit. I don't take my yarn to the back for knitting. I just keep it here and I just knit. So what happened here is that you've actually created an extra stitch, and then you have this stitch underneath it that you slipped on. So now what you would do is you would take your holding needle, take your slipped stitch and put it over your working needle as you kind of like as you would do a knot, and that's it. So I'm going to do 2 more stitches, 2 more knits. I'll knit 2 stitches and now I'll do another hole. So I take my yarn, move it to the front first, then I slip my 1 stitch to my working needle. I don't do nothing to it. I don't purl, I don't knit, I don't do anything to it. I just slip it on my working needle, and then I knit without doing anything to the yarn, keeping it where it is. I knit my next stitch. So once I have that, then I would take my slipped stitch from my working needle and move it over my working needle, so that way it's kind of like put a knot. In a way, it's a way of putting a knot on it, or just binding it off in a way. And then I'll knit 2 more and I'll do the same thing again. So I take my yarn, move it to the front, slip the 1 stitch to my working needle, then knit, keeping the yarn in the front, knit my next stitch, then take my working needle, take a hold of my slipped stitch, and then just move it over that needle, and then I'll knit the rest of the 3. Now if you're using normal needles, if you're just using straight needles, the next row over would be just be purl. If you're using circular needles, you don't have to worry about doing this. So once you come to the end of that wool, once you come to the end of your row, you could move on to your next row pattern. So either it be all knit or all purl or any of the other patterns that you were thinking of doing, a seed stitch or a stockinette, rib, whatever you were doing, you would continue on from there. And what you would do is, so you would have 1 stitch that looks something like this. So this was the stitch that this was when we brought brought the yarn to the front and then knitted it from the front, we basically created the extra stitch. So we didn't lose any stitches, we're just creating an extra stitch. So you would just basically, I would here purl it, you would knit it or whatever, depending on your pattern. So you would consider that as one of your stitches and knit or purl that particular stitch. So I'm just purling it. And I'll continue, so I'll show you the creation of the holes. And this is my last one, and I'm just purling it and moving forward. So if you look here, here are my 3 holes. And if you count the number of stitches that you have, you pretty much have the same number of stitches that you started off with. But now you have actual holes in your pattern, in your design, in your work. So this is how you actually create holes. You would create a similar way, a hole for a button, and you would create holes if you want one for a design purpose. Thank you for watching Learning How to Knit in Less Than 10 Minutes. If you like what you're seeing, please don't forget to subscribe to Rena Knits channel on YouTube. Till next time.